Hi friends, and welcome to this week's DFU. Today we are continuing with our Final Fantasy VII semester. This is the 7th episode. Quick reminder to not just jump in here. Please go back and watch all of the episodes up to this point if you haven't watched any of them yet, because you will be very confused and we won't help you. We'll laugh at you. So go and watch the rest of them so you're not confused.
True.
Joining me today is our Midgar ambassador, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, when you left off, you were telling us that our heroes were headed to Gonzaga Village. Is that how you say that?
Yeah. Gonzaga.
All right.
Gonzaga. Yeah.
Let's jump into the story. What's happening next?
So we got the letter from Dio letting us know that we got the buggy and we were heading out, which I'll go ahead and post a picture of the buggy so you can see what the buggy looks like. The good old El Buggo. Anyways, so we got the buggy and we're heading to Gonzaga Village. The reason why we're heading to Gonzaga Village, I don't know if I covered that, but on the back of the note, our good old friend Dio decided that he was going to say that he actually met Sephiroth while we were down there in the prison, and that he was heading towards Gonzaga Village, which is why we're heading towards Gonzaga Village to track down Sephiroth. Anyways, so we jump out of a little buggy, what's cool about the buggy, lets you not only drive over sand, which you couldn't go through sand before, it also lets you go through small, shallow rivers, so that way you can cross the rivers in the map, on the world map, so that way you can get to places. That's how they kind of restrict you to the certain areas until you get certain vehicles that you can go over stuff, which why the Golden Chocobo is so cool, because it can literally go over whatever the fuck it wants to. It doesn't matter. It can run over a mountain, it can run through over the sea, literally, just straight over the ocean. That's how quick they are. Fucking love Gold Chocobos. They're so great.
This feels very 90s though, because a lot of the games that I can think of from this time used a similar mechanism of you don't have the technology that you need to get out of this space, therefore they use geographical zones basically to block you in, and you had to get certain technology. But it seems like, at least for Final Fantasy VII, you receive that technology as, which I recognize sometimes as a chocobo, through plot-driven mechanics. So you will eventually get there, period.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
It's better than Pokemon in that way then, because sometimes that's not plot-driven, and you're just like, why can't I get through here?
It is plot-driven. You upgrade their vehicles, and then you can get to certain spaces. So yes, it is plot-driven. The only part that's not is the Golden Chocobo, and like I said, you can use that to get materia that you do not need to win the game, but is extremely fucking helpful to get through the game, and especially beat Ruby and Emerald Weapon. But anyways, back on track. So we get in our little buggy, and we go across the river, and we go straight down. It's actually really not that far away. Straight to Gonzaga Village. So I'll go ahead and post a picture of what Gonzaga looks like, so you can kind of see that. Not too big, not too crazy. Small little houses.
It's cute.
Yep.
I like it.
Nothing too crazy. But before we get there, we're on the dirt path right before that leads it, and we hear someone talking. And guess who it is? Our friends Reno and Rude, the Turks.
Damn
yes, Shinra is here. They beat us here. So, funny part is that we're listening to the Turks talk, and Reno's asking Rude who he likes. And what the gang don't know is that they're talking about the gang. So then he says Tifa. So Rude has a crush on Tifa.
Oh, good lord.
Yep. To which then Reno goes, man, poor Elaine, she's gonna be so upset. Which she walks up behind the group, and Cloud turns around and is talking to her, and he's like, he's like, what are they talking about? And she goes, they always do this stupid thing where they're sitting there talking about who likes who, da 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 da. And then Rude's all like, yeah, no, she actually likes the director, Sang. And fucking Reno's like, what? Sang likes the ancient. Like they're still going on. And then she notices that she's talking to Cloud. And she's like, wait, oh no. And then runs past Cloud to go tell them, like, they're here. Like, it's like, I like how she just walks up and starts talking to Cloud. And then she's like, wait, oh no. And then takes off running. So, anyways. So she goes running to tell Sang, and Reno and Rude are like, all right, it's payback time for Sector 7, as far as, you beat Reno at Sector 7. So you get in a fight with them. Go ahead.
Is there a whole bunch of, like, fan art of Rude and Tifa?
There might be, but
if
that
Cloud
wasn't
hadn't gotten in the way.
That wasn't that big of, like, a love story for anybody.
Okay.
So it's kind of like Rude had a fucking crush on her, and no one really gave a shit. The only person that literally gave a shit was probably Reno, and it's because he used to give him shit in the game. He would be all like, don't go easy on her just because you have a crush on her and shit like that. So, yeah.
Nice.
Anyways, so so you beat them, and then they end up walking away. And then Cloud goes, well, why were they here? And Tifa goes, not only were they here, but they were here before us, and it's like they were waiting on us. And then whoever you have on your team, well, technically Tifa, maybe not if she's not there, but once again, as I said, we go through with my team, so Tifa and Red 13. And Red 13 goes, it must mean that they're being informed. Which Tifa then goes, yes, I actually think so as well. And Cloud goes, I hate to think that there's a rat on our team because I want to trust everybody, but we'll have to figure that out later.
Ooh.
So they're being informed. Mm. At least I think. So we go up the first path, and you see this huge Shinra Mako reactor, but it is fucking devastated. Blown the fuck up. Does not operate anymore. It's fucked. You walk up to it, and as soon as you do, you hear a helicopter. Cloud runs and hides behind it, and Scarlet, which is one of the Shinra execs, jumps out with Sang, and they walk up to it. And she goes, well, there's nothing here. And he goes, what do you mean? This makes materia. She goes, yes, but we're looking for huge materia. And in order to make huge materia, you need good reactors, not a shit reactor. Shit reactors make shit materia. And so she walks away, which is actually funny because if you search the front of the reactor, it says there's something shiny. Do you want to reach in for it or leave it alone? If you hit reach in for it, you actually pull out a summon materia. It's a Titan summon, and each summon is based off of like an element besides Knights of the Round. And Titan is like the Earth element. And I've never been an Earth fan, so I didn't really give a shit about that that summon. It's not one of my favorites. But you know, I mean, my favorite's all the Bahamut's. I love the Bahamut's. Like that's my fucking favorite summon. He's so fucking cool. I mean, I really like Knights of the Round. Like I don't think you can play Final Fantasy VII, watch all the summon cutscenes, which we'll probably have to do at some point so you can see them and see what they look like because they're badass. But and watch Knights of the Round and not like Knights of the Round. Like it literally is just it's the longest cutscene out of all of them. I think it's like 2 minutes long of just all these knights just flying through and just beating the fuck out of whatever you like summon them on. It's crazy. It's crazy. But a lot of them do cool shit. Like for instance, is it Neo Bahamut? I think it's Neo Bahamut. It might be Bahamut Zero though. It's Bahamut. I think Neo's the one in outer space. Anyways, Bahamut Zero, one of them, they cut the ground out in a circle beneath the enemy and then bring up the entire piece of ground that they're on and then hold it up in the air magically. They're not touching it. And then they just shoot their ray until the earth below them just fucking crumbles into pieces and they go flying all the way back down to earth. It's fucking awesome. It's pretty cool shit.
You've seen this enough time. You're like, this is cool.
Oh yeah, my main thing was always trying to fucking level up the Bahamut materials all the way through because, like I said, they make that one joke in the Final Fantasy Abridged where fucking Barrett's like, and then there's Bahamut and Bahamut Zero and Neo Bahamut and Bahamut Sin and Ultima Bahamut, and he does it for like 3 minutes. It's great.
Ultimate Hobbit with bacon.
Yeah, with
I like that one.
bacon. Yeah, I'll have to show you that at some point. But the fucking Machine Bridge series is so good. Anyways, so we get the materia, we get out of the reactor, we move back to Gonzaga Village. So I will say this for the people who have been listening close enough and trying to get the dating scene that they want. If you want the dating scene with Aerith, she should be on your team at this point. If you don't want the dating scene with Aerith, you should still have Aerith on your team at this point. Just make sure Tifa is on your team before because you get to put them in order. So Cloud's always at the top. I always have Tifa in the middle, and then on the bottom I put, Red 13. But at this point, I put Aerith if I were you, because there's a special scene that happens if Aerith is on your team when you come to Gonzaga. So looking at Gonzaga, all of those houses are kind of like shops, except for the one to the far right with the smoke coming out of the chimney. So you walk in there, and there's an old man and an old lady. And then Tifa and Aerith kind of split, because like I said, everybody's like inside Cloud, which sounds weird, but inside Cloud until you get where you're at, and then the people come out, and like the whole cutscenes happen and all that shit. But which they make fun of in that abridged series, by the way. They make like this weird like fucking moisty sounding noise every time they go in and out. They make fun of that for sure. Yeah, it's
Ew.
bad. It's bad. It's like every time they go in and out. It's bad. Anyways, so so you talk to the old couple, and the first thing the man notices is that you have glowing eyes. And he goes, you must be from Soldier, right? You have the glowing eyes. At which the lady then gets excited. She goes, if you're from Soldier, then maybe you know our son.
Oh no.
And the old man goes, your son who? And he's all like, our son, Zach. Have you ever heard of him? And Cloud's like, I don't know a Zach. And they're all like,
No.
he's been gone for 10 years. And he's like, yeah, I still don't know a Zach. And then all of a sudden, Aerith goes, Zach, ... And Tifa also goes, Zach, dot, dot, dot. And then the little lady goes, do you know Zach? Talking to or Aerith. And she goes, no, I don't. You're mistaken. And instantly walks out of the house. And then Tifa goes outside right after her. And Cloud's like, what's wrong with you two? And then the door closes and he turns back to the old couple. And they're all like, he went on a mission 5 years ago and we haven't heard from him since then. And he's been gone for 10 full years. You think being his parents, he would have wrote us at some point. So then Cloud walks out of the building. And at this point, once again, if you have Aerith on your team, she's going to be to the left, kind of standing by that rock that's next to that left house or middle house, I guess, and Tifa's all the way up to the right. If you have Aerith on your team and you want the date scene with Tifa, go talk to Tifa first, and then Aerith second, as always. The person you want to date, talk to that one first, and then the other one. Anyways, but when you talk to Aerith, she says, or Zach, or Cloud goes, "Do you know who Zach is?" And she goes, "Didn't I tell you Zach was my first love?"
Ooh, hang on. Tifa says this?
Zach, no, Aerith, Aerith.
Oh, good. Okay, I was like, what the fuck? Cloud was totally her first love. Okay, Aerith says this. Thank you.
Yes, Zach was her first love. She's like, I told you that about that guy that I dated back whenever he was in Soldier, and she goes, and I haven't heard from him in 10 years. Um, or no, 5 years. I figured, or that he would have said something by now, but I'm guessing he's kind of a really, really handsome guy and a ladies' man that he just probably moved on. At which this point, you got a little bit of chance to get affinity points with Aerith. You can either say, lucky for him. Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah, exactly. You could say lucky for him or good for him. I think it's just good for him. Something I don't know. Either way, it's a dick move. It's in order to bring Aerith's affinity points down. You got to remember her points are so high compared to everybody else's that there's a lot more dick things to say to Aerith than there is like anybody else on the team in order to help combat
That's
that.
right. Yeah. You have to be an asshole to her
Yeah,
to date anyone
pretty
else.
much, pretty much.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Or the other one, which is Cloud says like I'm jealous underneath my breath or underneath his breath or something like that, which gives her obviously affinity points. Um, anyways, but she's like, I don't mind. It's not that big a deal. Anyways, let's go ahead and go, Cloud. Thanks for caring. And then you can go talk to Tifa. And Cloud goes, do you know Zach? And she says, no. And Cloud goes, your face says otherwise. And she goes, it just has me thinking about you, about how you were all gung ho about you were going to leave and go join Soldier. And they were saying the same thing about Zach. And Cloud's like, there are a lot of guys back there like that. And she goes, well, you must have been really lucky, or you must have really been something in order to pass all those guys and actually make it into Soldier. And at this point, you could say it was just luck, or I worked hard for it. I always go, I worked hard for it. And she goes, yeah, you must have worked really, really hard for it. And then she's like, thanks for caring. So then that's it. That's it for Gonzaga. Not a big spot, just a little bit of story.
Is
Little
there any
bit.
significance to the graveyard that is in the bottom left corner?
So the graveyard is all the people who died when the Mako reactor blew up. Not the one that Avalanche blew up. The one that I told you
Yeah,
that we
no,
got
no,
that.
the one that
Yeah,
blew up that you were hiding behind at the
correct.
very beginning.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes. Just wanted to make sure for you and the viewers that they're like, holy fuck, the Midgard fucking Sector 5 reactor made it this far? No, not even close. We are,
yeah.
we are, we are pretty fucking far away from Midgard at this point. We are on a completely different fucking part of the continent at this fucking point.
Yeah,
There's a
a long way
gigantic
away.
fucking river that splits right up the middle, and we are on the other side of that. Anyways, so at this point, you can kind of go around shopping and stuff like this, get some good things for the people at home that are playing that Mitzel building that I talked about. If you look close, there's a wooden sign on the front that has a sword on it. That is a weapon shop. If you go inside, you talk to the lady, she will only sell you accessories. There is a stick in the back left corner, or no, front left corner. It's like on the side because it's a fucking round building, but whatever. Left corner, left side. Shit. Anyways, there's a
You're
stick
just
over
having a
there.
hard
Well,
time.
circles don't have corners, Chris. Fuck. Anyways, so there is a stick on the left that if you go up to it, it acts as a ladder like a fireman's pole, and then it will let you go into the roof where the actual weapon shop is at. Here you can get a better weapon for everybody on your team except for Cloud if you already have Hard Edge at this point. Anyways, so everybody on your team can get an upgrade here. It is a good thing to know because they hid that on purpose because these weapons actually kind of help carry you a little bit through the rest of the next two locations you go to. So definitely a good thing to stop in there. But the next place we're going also has a shop that has some good weapons too. Some of them better, some of them aren't. So either way. But you're supposed to get in fights on the way there. So random encounters. Whoop whoop. Back to the buggy. Yes. And my favorite fucking place in the game. Well, one of my favorite places in the game. It's up there. It's probably tied for first. I really like Midgar. I just love the
We're
overall
going to
like.
Cosmo Canyon, aren't we?
Yes, we are going to Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah.
So happy. Like, the theme song is just in my fucking head. I love Cosmo Canyon. It's so good. For those of you that don't know, every time before we get on, I do have Kelsey listen to the theme of the last character. So she has heard the theme of Cosmo Canyon. I know how iconic it is, and people get all up in arms if they don't listen. At this point, she has listened to every character theme of every character we have now, and she has listened to the Cosmo Canyon theme and the main overall theme because it is also entwined within Cloud's main theme as well, including Kate Sith, since Kate Sith was the character we got last episode. That's the one she listened to today before we started this one. Anyways, moving on. One of my favorite parts in the fucking game. My boy, Red 13. Yes! So excited. So, we pull up to Cosmo Canyon, which I will send a picture of this, and I'm so excited for you to see Cosmo Canyon. I think this is probably going to be one of your favorite landscapes, honestly. But this is Cosmo Canyon.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's all tribal. The houses throughout the mountains and everything. And then right on top, there's a big ass house with a huge telescope that just looks all the way out.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so those long ass steps right there in front. The whole team comes running up there. You walk into a guy that doesn't let you in, and then all of a sudden he sees our friend, not Red 13, but Nana Key. Yes, this is the first time we get told Red 13's real name is Nanaki. Some people pronounce it Nanaki. I say Nanaki. Fuck off. So, Nanaki. And this is this one spot where I've always talked about on the podcast a couple times where like they do the whole Nanaki, 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 Nanaki. So basically, Nanaki runs past. He starts going up the stairs, and Cloud and them start talking to the guy. And then afterwards, he's like, "Well, I can't let you in because we're full." And then Nanaki's like, "Well, they helped me out along the road, so please let them in." Which is funny because he runs up the stairs. Like those are stairs leading all the way up to that big ass fucking telescope up there, and throughout.
Ooh.
So he's like takes off to where you can't even see him on screen anymore. But he just somehow manages to just come back real quick at the right moment to be like, "Oh, by the way, let them in there with me," which is pretty fucking funny. Anyways, so moving on. So the guy goes to let you in, and Cloud's like, "Who's Nanaki?" And he's like, "Oh, well, Red 13 is Nanaki." But once again, if you're like me and naming Nanaki, this is where you start that whole dialogue that I love so much, where it's just fucking Nanaki like all over the fucking screen. It's pretty great. Anyways, so move past that, and you get inside, and everybody's kind of like, or you walk up to Red 13, and Red 13's like, "This is it. This is my home. This is where my journey ends with you. I'm supposed to protect this canyon. This is my destiny." And then all of a sudden, you hear a voice saying, "Nanaki, you're home." And Nanaki looks up and he says, "Grandfather." So now we are meeting Nanaki's grandfather, which I know does not look anything like Red 13.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
has Nanaki just never questioned this? Like, does he need an outsider to come in and be like, "Hey, huh?"
So they didn't talk about too much. I think basically the way it's supposed to look at it is his name is like, is it Bugenhamen? Bugenhamen, I think is how you say his name. Uh, Bugenhagen. So Bugenhagen.
That
Bugenhagen.
feels strong Germanic for the fact that this is supposed to be like a desert tribe.
Yes. So Bugenhagen. Anyways, he's basically like the village elder. So I think like everybody refers to him as like grandfather or like the elder type deal.
That makes much more sense.
But he does have a special bond with Red 13, and here's the reason why. A long time ago, a is it the Key tribe? I think it's the Key tribe. The Key tribe, I think. G tribe, GI. It's the G tribe attacked Cosmo Canyon, and um, instead of fulfilling his duty, Red 13's father acted like a coward and ran, leaving the village to itself. Somehow the village still survived, but his father ran like a coward, telling this is him explaining this to Cloud and them because they ask him right here before he goes up to see his grandfather. So ever since then, Bugenhagen's just kind of like taken Red 13 in and just kind of been like the father figure for him that he didn't have. So yeah.
Every time you want me to smile, say that name. It's
Bugenhagen.
just so
It's
yeah.
great. It's great. Bugenhagen. It's great. Which as a kid, like I literally could never remember his name. Even now, I still didn't really remember his name. I had to still look at it. But yeah, Bugenhagen. Yeah, that's the dude. That's the guy. And he's
It's just so.
actually he's a little old guy that's sitting on a green crystal ball that just floats. That's what that is underneath him. I know it doesn't really look like that, but that's what it is. It's a green crystal, or at least that's what the fans think it is. The fans of the game, like we all think that's what it. Like there's so much artwork of him, which
Yeah, we're slowly gonna figure out he's actually just a pickle.
yeah, bottom half's all pickle. Ease, ease.
Oh god. Okay, keep going.
So this is the cool part. So we figure out here. We go up and talk to Bugenhagen, and you get up there. The team wants to take a break, so only Cloud goes up there with Nanaki, and you're talking to him, and he's all like, "I'm so glad you brought our little Nanaki back to us." And Nanaki's like, "Grandfather, don't call me little." And he goes, "But you are little." And then Cloud goes, "Oh, how old is he?" And he goes, "Well, in our years, or in his years, he's 45, but in our years, he's actually only 14 to 15. So Nanaki's a youngin. Yeah, he's a little youngin. It's great. It's great. And so he's all like, you
Yeah, like
got a
teeny bopper.
long, yeah, yeah. He's like, you still got a long way to go. And he's like, oh, but grandfather, I want to be a grown up and be able to protect the canyon and protect you. And he's all like, not yet. Like, this guy has like the right perspective. He's all like, you can't be reaching for the stars all the time because then you'll lose perspective. You need to be looking in front of you and shit like that. Like, he's fucking on it. So he's telling Red 13, like, you got to be able to live
Yeah.
life and shit. It's great. It's great. I love this guy. He's a perfect role model for fucking our little young Nanaki. If I wasn't such a big Nanaki fan, I probably would give two shits about Bugenhagen, but because I love fucking Nanaki so much, like, yes, I love Nanaki. He's so great. Anyways, our little guy, a little rascal. Anyways, so he wants to be a big boy and protect Cosmo Canyon and all of his people, which who can blame him, right? Right. So, um, then Bugenhagen says, "Go get one of your team. We have something to talk about." And Cloud's like, "What do we have to talk about?" And then all of a sudden, like Cloud hears this like really loud noise. He's like, "What was that?" And Bugenhagen says, "That's the sound of the planet. It's crying. It's dying, and I can hear it from here." So he's like really in tune with the fucking planet. He can hear the stars. He's talking about how stars are always born and dying all the time. Like he is. This is the dude that kind of like puts things into perspective for the team, as far as like the planet is actually dying. Like Barrett's not lying. Shinra is killing the planet. This is actually happening. The planet is actually dying and it's crying out, and no one can help it. Which
Ugh.
is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So then he goes, and you can go pick your team. And once you grab your team, after that, you get to go into his what do they call it? I can't think of the goddamn name of it. Whenever they fucking take you into a room, turn out the lights, and you see all the fucking stars and the planets. Fucking
So,
oh god.
well, if you hadn't forgotten it, I would have known what it was. Because the general thing is the observatory.
Yes, that I think that's what it is. Observatory. I think
Oh,
that's what I was looking
that's what
for.
you're going for.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's not. Let's go for that one. It might be what it is. If it's not, tell me what it is in the comments, and I'll just delete it so that way you don't see it, and then I'll just go back and edit the video and be like, aha, it was this. But anyways, editing power. Get it. So back to it. So yeah, and there's an observatory. So you go get your team, and you go in there with Bugenhagen, and we are actually going to watch that. So
Oh,
now,
cool.
hey, little Kate
There are your
Sith.
friends.
Hey, you can see the zipper. See, the zipper on his back. Told you.
Ah!
It's supposed to be like real time too, I believe. Like it's a 3D model or a hologram, so it's like real time. So like the shit's actually going on in outer space right now, which is pretty fucking cool. Tell you, Bugenhagen's the dude.
This is deep.
Yeah. It's the dude. He knows everything. The live stream.
Interesting that he mentioned exceptions.
Yeah. There's Gaia.
Clearly based off of Earth.
Yeah. Stuff dying and then creating its own stream, forces the planet, turns green, and then creates life anew through the live stream.
Interesting.
What Shinra is doing, using it to make electricity. Yes, Cloud, that is correct.
Okay, so when you act upon it, it can't do what it's supposed to do.
Which is why I think you don't see a lot of like casuals and stuff just running around. I did what I could to describe it without trying to give too much away, but you know, he really
Yeah.
like hits you in the head with like, look, this is what's happening when they're taking this Mako. They're literally killing the planet. It can't even do what it's supposed to do, and all this other stuff as far as creating new life. And like I was saying, I don't think that, or I think that's the reason why we don't see like a lot of casual, you know, NPCs running around with a lot of materia and stuff like that because of, you know, how hard it is to get the Mako energy and then force it to turn into materia to begin with. Because, like I said, natural born materia is not that easy to find. I think there's only like 4 or 5 occasions of it in the game itself. So,
Okay.
so yeah. So we get that whole spiel. We go back downstairs, and they all start talking about the fact that you know they need to go and save the planet. And then Bugenhagen's like, "Hey, I think you should go with them, Nanaki." And it's like, what? I can't. I have to stay here and protect you. And it's like, no, we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And he's all like, no, I have to stay here and protect you because there's a threat. And he goes, you know what? I've been holding this off for too long, but it's finally time that I show you something. So we go to this
Oh boy.
huge metal door that's hidden deep inside of this big ass mountain that Bugenhagen is sitting on like a fucking throne 'cause he's a fucking boss. Open the big door, and he goes, "Bring people with you who are going to be, or bring one other person with you who you feel is a strong fighter." And so, obviously, once again, I'm always Cloud Thief of fucking Red 13. So, you go in, and it's called the G Cave, and you start fighting members of the G tribe throughout, and like ghost members of them. You end up getting to this huge like ghost boss, which is fucking dumb. He's such a pain in the ass to fight, but it's actually funny. There's a glitch with this boss, and I want to say it's a Phoenix Down. I can't remember. This is the only boss that has that glitch where if you throw the specific potion at him, it will kill him instantly. It's actually a glitch in the
Hmm.
game. It's pretty funny. I think it's a Phoenix Down because he's
Now, are
like
you actually
dead, and that brings them back to life, so it just kills him.
are you killing these members, or
The
you're
G
not because
tribe,
they're
yes.
ghosts?
Well,
Oh,
you're fighting them and killing them. Yes, some of them are ghosts, some of them aren't. But yes, they're evil. They're like minions and shit. Like they're not like this fucking peaceful tribe. Like they just want to conquer the world and kill
yeah,
everybody.
he's just hiding them in his basement, so it's
Well,
just
it's
randomly
not his
like, nah,
basement.
I feel like killing something. Like,
So Cosmo Canyon had one gigantic flaw, and that flaw was is that there was like a direct access into the canyon through this fucking mountain. So this door is
mm,
blocking that direct access off. So that way Cosmo Canyon is still kind of like this road El Dorado, if you will. So that way nobody can get to it. It's what it was. So it definitely runs back out into the canyon.
okay.
So we get through the cave, and then we get to a spot where Bugenhagen's like, "Hey, Nanaki, I need to talk to you. Come here. I want to show you something." And then we get into this. Your father, the Wario Seto. So that's the reason they never made it in. So this whole time he thought he was a coward and ran off. Just his statue alone scares them away from coming through. And that's when I noticed that he's still alive. It's his tears. Because he can hear it.
What?
Yep.
Ah! Rip my heart out. Good
Hey,
lord.
like I told you, this game, everybody bags on it for its graphics, but this game looks or this game's got a great fucking story. So yeah, as you were talking about, they you know, he obviously meant the parents, but yeah, true. The mom was the only one that could really talk, but it was more along the lines that they knew that if he knew he was in there, Red 13 might try to do something and could get killed in the G cave because it's a really hard area to progress through this early in the game. Like you really need to make sure that you bought those weapons that I told you to buy before you try to go
Mhm.
through here, and make sure your armor's good and make sure you have some fucking potions and some healing material because this is not an easy fucking cave. Like there's some real hard enemies in there. But yeah, so now we got to see that Seto did not run off like a coward. Seto is the reason the G tribe never made it into Cosmo Canyon, and he still protects it to this day, even though his body is turned to stone. They're scared of just the mere look of him. They won't come that far into the canyon, and even if they did, Seto or they have the door completely barred all the way off. So, which that scene right there, and I'll post this in the Discord, literally has given me one of the coolest backgrounds I've ever had, and I fucking love this background. This is directly from the game. The fucking Seto looking off into the moon and Red 13 up there with him just staring off into the moon.
Oh,
So sick. Such a badass background.
oh,
That is why Red 13 is one of my favorite characters of all time. I fucking love Red 13. He's easily one of the best. Like that's my dude. That is that
God,
is
I can't.
That is the
Oh,
first big part of the story arc. Now, this is what I'm trying to tell you. So now you're kind of just got a little taste of it. I've been saying this almost every episode, and now you got a little taste of it. Not only was this little bit of a character arc solely just around Red 13 and him, and us finding out more about him, but everything tied back into the original story of saving the planet, saving the live stream, having to come back for that. Like every single character has that. Every single character, which is why this game is so amazing in my opinion. To go down all these different alleys of all these different characters, being able to explore them fully, and everything still come full circle and make sense moving towards the end is fucking phenomenal.
that's awesome.
So that's just a little taste. Like we've got it with Baird a little bit, and now we finally got Red 13. Yep, just a little taste. But that ends the episode here. That ends the Red 13 saga. Cosmo Canyon. I mean, there's a little bit more that happens to Cosmo Canyon, nothing too crazy, but that is the main big thing that kind of hits you with a Red 13 story.
Huh, man, my heart still hurts. I'm trying to imagine, like, if I'd thought my father was a terrible person, who he's not. He's the best person in the entire world. And then later just finding his body that's been protecting me and the people that I love for years and years and is still like still conscious, still alive,
Right,
and but still completely removed from everything because he's still basically being tortured. Like that would destroy me as a human being.
right,
Good Lord.
right.
Those just heavy hitters. Oh my, and this is not a main character.
No,
Like this is one of your team, but this is not the main character. So to
correct.
give a for lack of a better term, side character, non-primary character. I'll call him a non-primary character because he's not a side character. That kind of a backstory. Yeesh.
Hmm. I mean, we just
That's
got the
gonna give
same
him a
thing last
fire.
episode to Baird as well, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's getting their hardcore stories. Yep, we're hitting them out of the
God, let's
park.
just.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's just this is a game of ripping your heart out and stomping up repeatedly, isn't it?
A couple times. This is definitely one of the moments for sure. A couple times.
Great. Glad I asked you to take me on this saga.
Hey, the story wouldn't be so good if there wasn't some heart-wrenching moments. That's for sure.
No,
If
that's
everything was
true. It
all
can't all
happy
be.
and go lucky, then it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah, dandelions all around.
We haven't gotten to the worst part for me. There's one part of this game where like it fucking chokes me up watching it, and yes, we will watch that part too. But it chokes me up watching it because it's just like fuck. So when we get there,
Ugh.
it's gonna be great. I'm excited. But I'm so happy we got through Cosmo Canyon. I knew that this would easily, I mean, obviously you can't tell yet, but that this would easily be one of your favorite arcs of the game was the Red 13 or the Nanaki story.
So cool. I'm
He's
calling
such
him Nanaki. I'm not calling him Red 13. I'm
he's
not
the
calling him
dude.
what some experimenter called him. It's terrible.
Yep.
Uh, all right. Well, friends, that will wrap up our seventh class on the Final Fantasy VII semester. If you heard anything you disagree with, if this ripped your heart out like it did mine, please go ahead, jump in the comments, let us know what you think. We love reading your comments. We actually genuinely read every single one of them, and we're super
Yes.
excited whenever you throw them down there. So jump in the comments and let us know. Chris may argue with you. Chris may tell you more things that'll rip out your heart, may show you more fan art that'll rip out your heart. But either way, if you enjoyed this content, please go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. It would mean a lot to us if you'd be willing to do that. And definitely turn on those notifications so you know when to come to class. And if you want to contact us directly, there are actually Twitch links down there as well as Twitter links. We hope to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next class. Bye, friends.